Hello, this is Manesh Patel from ichimokutrade.com. Today is November 30th, 2014. This is our bi-weekly Ichimoku analysis for all the global markets, where we cover everything from Europe to Middle East to Asia to North and South America and so forth. Normal disclaimer to state this is for education use only. We're not soliciting you to buy or sell any particular instrument. If you do so, you're doing that at your own risk. All the charts you can see are basically from eSignal today, from Interactive Data. Here are our contact details. You could call us at any of our office locations here. You could always also email us here at info@eiicapital.com, or you could go to our website here, ichimokutrade.com, access any of our multiple time frame email alerts, access our free videos, our scanners, and multiple different trading tools for any instrument around the world. Also, if you want to see our quarterly, semi-annual institutional report here, where we do forecast all the instruments worldwide for the entire year from the very beginning, and then we do an update in the middle of the year, you could access that document right here. Okay, so let's go straight to eSignal. Remember, on the left hand side is basically the daily time frame, on the right hand side is basically the weekly time frame. All the support resistances that you see are basically here are from the weekly time frame, and the reason why is that we want to make sure we have a long-term view of everything that's going on. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is go over to Europe. We're going to start with Ireland, make our way to the Middle East, and then to Asia, and to North and South America, as we normally do. Ireland, if you look here, nice bullish trend here, did a major pullback and held the support around 6,007. Basically, we've retested, well, we're very close to retesting the high, which is at 68.35. At that point, we kind of want to see exactly what's going to happen. If you look at this major pullback, it's kind of like an ugly pullback type of scenario here at the top, which is basically a nice little consolidation pattern here. You're kind of looking to see exactly what's going to happen here at 68.38, 35. Probability of it breaking it are going to be low right now. Maybe in 2 weeks, if we're still hanging around here, we may have that probability increase, but right now it looks like it's going to stop here, maybe even get up to 68.35 and then start to do a pullback. The key support level is going to be around 62.89. If it ever breaks that, then it can sit there and continue to consolidate, and if it ever sits there and breaks the 6,007 level, this thing could sit there and go from a consolidation pattern into a bearish trend. UK market, this looks ugly too. Not as ugly as the Ireland market, but you could see here this thing's just been consolidating after a long time of here entering a bullish trend. This did do a major pullback to the 6,200 level, held that support. As long as it holds that support there, this thing's just going to sit there and consolidate nicely between 6,200 and basically 68.43 until it breaks one of those support resistances. This thing's just going to consolidate and continue to consolidate. Germany, next is German market here. Nice bullish trend here, pretty much held the support right around probably about 85, 8600 level. Held that, and now pretty much here retesting the high, getting close to basically 10,030, sorry. And at that point, we're kind of expecting it to sit there and bounce off there and pull back. We're looking for a pullback level to at least 94.83 and then see exactly what's going to happen. But we're thinking that this thing's going to consolidate between 91.93 and 10,030 until it breaks one of those two levels at this time. We really don't see this really breaking this 10,030 level until possibly Q1 or Q2 next year, if possible. But next 2 weeks, we kind of want to see exactly what happens and go from there. France market, you could see it's weak over all the Germany and UK. Well, not according to UK, but it's weaker compared to Germany. At one point, France started leading Germany, but it kind of started lagging behind now. This also was a bullish trend, held support roughly around 3,900, and basically now it's trying to go back to retest the high. The high we don't have up here. We have the major resistance here, 44.84. which we believe is going to be the top of the consolidation pattern. The support basically it's been holding is 41.92. Minor support right now, it just broke last week, is 43.46. So we're looking for this thing to go to 44.84 and then basically bounce off there, and then we're going to kind of monitor the 44.84 level and the 41.92 level to see exactly what's going to happen there. Switzerland's, as you know, we talked about this being bullish here. This sat there, broke the resistance at 85.50, and pretty much now it's on its way journey to the next two resistance levels, which were marked off as 92.01 and 92.88. Most likely it'll get to 92.01 or 92.88. At that point it'll hold there, and they'll probably pull back a little and then continue its trend going into 2015. So Switzerland is kind of hot right now compared to all the other countries so far. Iceland, as we talk about, be starting a bullish trend. It did break out. It's continuing its journey all the way up. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually gets close to 500 before going into next year, because this is extremely strong. And we talked about this when this was in here in the last couple of months ago, this possibly breaking out, and it did. And this thing's just going with vengeance all the way up. So we'll keep on monitoring this one, but this one's definitely bullish trending on both the daily and weekly. Baltic, you're now starting to see signs of weakness here. The support, this had a nice bullish trend. The pullback support was basically to 574. Did not hold, broke down here, bleed below there, and then came back up here. We don't believe this is a major pullback now. This could basically enter a consolidation pattern and start a trend going to the downside. The key resistance level is going to be 594. As long as this holds the 594 level, this definitely is going to be bearish to go downwards here, to where it could possibly break this pivot right here and continue on its journey all the way down to 500. So we got one minor resistance level that we're approaching, which is 586. If that holds, it's going to be extremely bearish, strong bearish. If it goes up to 594, it's going to be medium strong bearish. So we're looking for that resistance level to hold here. If it does, then you definitely have a possibility of a bearish trend here. Denmark, which was sitting there being bullish, starting to show some signs of weakness here. This is very, very similar to Switzerland and then Iceland, where it's just kind of hanging around. It had a pullback, but it's minor. It was weak. It was to about 683. So this still has a very, very strong momentum to this thing. So we're definitely going to be bullish to even sit there and break this resistance level of 770 going into next year. So excuse me. So this is one definitely to sit there and keep an eye on, because we believe Denmark can sit there and possibly break out before the end of the year and keep on going higher to a new level. You can see Finland's already done that, broke the resistance level of 77.51 and breaking it, and now it's basically hit the 8,000 level, but this is still very, very strong to a point this could keep on going up moving forward. Norway is the next one. If you look at Norway here basically had a nice bullish trend here, pulled back to our 601 support here, held that support. Now we're expecting it to bounce off that 601 level. As long as it holds that support, we're going to be basically bullish all the way up to 645, and then we'll watch the chart to see if it's going to possibly break that. If it holds the 645 level, then this thing will basically consolidate until it enters a bearish trend. So we're waiting to see exactly what's going to happen now, but it did get our support, and we'll see from there. Belgium, just like Denmark and Finland, so just like Finland, Denmark hasn't broken out yet. Just like Finland's basically broken the resistance. It's making its journey going higher. This looks like it's trying to shoot for 3,400, so definitely keep an eye on that one. Sweden. If you look at Sweden, this did break the resistance of 1420. Next resistance it's been running into, we got to the next resistance, which is 1468. Either it'll hold that resistance and then pull back to 1420, and at that point hold it to keep on going higher, or this will go to the next resistance of 1507. So we're kind of waiting to see exactly what's going to happen here. Ideally, we want this thing to pull back to 1420 and hold that level. If it does, then it's got a very high probability of breaking out to 1507 very, very fast. So we're looking for that to kind of happen very soon for Sweden. Netherlands. If you look at Netherlands here, This is kind of stuck at a resistance at 425. We're kind of waiting to see exactly what happens, but its probabilities of it breaking this are going to be still very, very high, and we're looking for it to kind of happen either this week or next week. Netherlands breaking out, so we'll have to see, wait and see, but the probabilities are high for it to break out in the next 2 weeks. Spain, if you look at Spain here, Spain's kind of ugly little pattern here. It's still an ugly bullish trend here. Did a major pullback here, got to this resistance here, kind of broke it, and then came back. Is very, very critical now in order for this bullish trend to, still ugly bullish trend, to be maintained, that the support at 52.94 holds. If this support at 52.94 does not hold, this is going to enter a consolidation pattern that's slowly going to deplete going downwards. If this holds here, this still has a probability of getting back to 94.80 and possibly getting back to 56.34, but only time's going to tell exactly what's going to happen here. Greece, I know a lot of people are trying to be positive on Greece here, but you had a nice little push movement up here. It didn't hold the support at 14.10, which we wanted it to do, which is not looking good at all. So this looks like it possibly can sit there and start a bearish trend because it held this minor resistance level here. If it holds this minor resistance level around 14.50, this does sit there and have a probability of coming down to 10.84, which is the next support level. So I'll be very, very cautious on this guy right here. I would basically be bearish if we break the 13.81 support level, so that's basically where I'll be completely bearish to go, all targeting this support level down here. As far as bullish is concerned, I definitely will look at bullish until we break this resistance level here, 1570. So this is tilting more towards the bearish side, but you kind of want it to go down to more and kind of destroy this daily time frame and kind of get below the Cajuns in here before you could even look at a bearish trade. Italy here, if you look at Italy here, this is nice bullish trending here. Got to the support. Remember, we're talking about being long because it was holding the support here. So as long as the support held, basically we were bullish. It's looking good right now. We got to our resistance here, which is our first resistance that we had laid out. The second one's going to be basically 20,722. And believe it or not, in about a week or 2 weeks, we do believe it's going to break this resistance and come all the way up to about 21,463. So we're waiting for the Italian market to keep on going up. We believe this is going to have a high probability of keep on going bullish until the end of the year and at least get to 21,463. Austria. And look at Austria here. This is basically in a bearish trend. It's at a major resistance level that has to hold here, which is roughly around, let's just say around 2300. That resistance level definitely has to hold in order for us to remain bearish. If it holds, we're basically still bearish all the way to 2140, which is a minor support, and then the major support is going to be 2050. If it breaks this resistance level, then this bearish trend is going to be over, and this thing's going to enter a consolidation pattern. So we have to wait and see exactly what happens there. Czechoslovakia, this is one ugly consolidation pattern here. The bottom of the consolidation pattern is going to be roughly around 924/907. The top of the consolidation pattern is going to be roughly around about 1035 or so forth up here. This broke a resistance at 986. That does have a high probability of coming back a little more higher into this ugly consolidation pattern. But this is one you definitely don't need to look at until it sits there and decides it wants to do something that matters and establish a trend. Hungary, if you look at it here, this is one ugly pattern here, but this is slowly consolidating and going downward. So this is definitely bearish. This is bearish as long as this resistance here at 17,936 basically hold. That was the major resistance. The minor resistance what we're looking at right now, that's holding right now, which is telling us that it has a high probability of getting down to 16,000 if this resistance hold is 17,487. So as long as this resistance right here holds, it does have a high probability of getting down to 16,000 and starting a trend down to that level and going from there. If you're looking for the daily, you kind of wanted to break the minor support at 17,257 to sit there and take a trade to the downside if you're conservative. Poland, This thing's not really doing anything except consolidating between 23.20 and 25.19. The consolidation pattern is getting tighter and tighter and tighter to a point this may break out sooner or later, but right now it doesn't look like it. We're predicting at least probably about another 2 or 3 months before it could possibly break out of the consolidation pattern. Romania, which was basically very strong, bullish trending, it's still very strong, but it's getting a little toppy and consolidating, showing some signs of weakness here, where it possibly could sit there and start a major pullback. If it sits there and breaks the support at 812, what is that level? 68.12 level. If it breaks that support, then we're going to enter a major pullback. If it breaks this resistance to 69.97, then this trend is going to continue to pretty much keep on going up. The next one, which is a big surprise, is Slovakia. If you look here, this basically is retesting high here at 223. This does have a high probability of breaking it. It may decide to consolidate a little, but this still does have a high probability for the next month to 2 months to breaking that resistance. So keep an eye on this one, because it could sit there and break it and then go on a vengeance going up. Russia, we talked about this. This held the support here at 29.63. And remember, we talked about this, how this kept on hanging around. And it finally just sat there and held the support here, bounced off there, and got to a resistance level, which is basically 33.11. We broke that resistance level, and it looks like it's sitting there trying to go higher to at least 3,500. And we may sit there and go for a minor pullback, but Russia looks like it's trying to sit there and break out of this ugly consolidation pattern here on the weekly time frame and try to go long-term bullish. South Africa, which is another strong bullish trend here, did a major pullback to 88.30. We talked about going long here. As long as this 88.30 held support, it got to a resistance here, which is roughly around 10,000. Got to that resistance and now basically approached our next resistance, which is 10,060. We approached that resistance very fast to a point we're kind of expecting a pullback. We're expecting a pullback of this guy here roughly to about 9,900 level. And as long as it pulls back to there, I think we could sit there and possibly break this 10,600 level. In order for this to retest the high, we definitely have to break this resistance. If we hold that resistance, this thing's going to consolidate for the next 3 to 4 months. So it's going to be very critical that the South African stock market break this resistance level. If not, it's going to enter a consolidation pattern. Turkey is our next instrument. If you look at Turkey, nothing really going on here. Tried a bullish trend here, didn't quite work, so pulled back here. We're looking for this held a major support at 4,086 and got to our next resistance level, which is 45.24. We believe this resistance is going to hold, and this thing's just going to consolidate now between this resistance of 45.24 and the 40,086 level, but only time will tell. Israel, which was really hot, is kind of slowing down now. You could see they're slowly going up. It's kind of consolidating here at the top here, which is making the daily pattern look very ugly. However, it's still holding the major support, which is at 66.63. As long as it holds this thing could still keep on going higher, and we do believe it's going to keep on going higher and at least probably get to about 7,200 before the end of the year, but only time will tell. Saudi Arabia, remember the Middle East countries are very hot. They're actually cooling down now, entered a major pullback. A lot of people think these long-term Middle East countries are bearish now. They're not. They just went for a major pullback, and you got to understand, even though the downward movement's very big, it's still minor compared to the huge movement going up. So this is still a very fraction of the big movement going up. So the major pullback support is basically 85.48 for the Saudi Arabia market. As long as it holds here, we're now going to sit there and say we're going to be bullish. As long as this support holds here, we're going to be bullish going all the way up to here to 96.71 level, which is a major resistance, and at that point be bullish to get to about 10,247, which is the major resistance up there. So that's basically where we stand with the Saudi Arabia market. Dubai, Same scenario here. This is bullish trending here. Major pullback level, support level is going to be 38.47. That's basically, we're still going to be bearish until it gets to this level, 38.47. Once it hits that level, then we're basically going to be bullish as long as that support holds. We're going to be bearish as long as it holds this resistance here at basically 45.71. Abu Dhabi. If you look at Abu Dhabi here, bullish trending here, basically sit there and broke the support here. Major support for a major pullback is going to be 43.62, so we're going to be bearish all the way to 43.62 as long as the resistance at basically at 49.57 gets held. Bahrain. This is bullish trending here. We're going to be basically bearish now to a pullback all the way up to 1400, which is a major pullback, as long as the resistance level at 1457 gets held. Kuwait. Here, this is probably the ugliest of all the Middle Eastern countries here. This had a big bullish movement here. It's pulled back. It should have sat there and hold the 1126 level. So since it didn't, this basically is no longer a pullback at all. This could enter a major consolidation or a trend reversal now. Next major support basically is 1098, which is held. And now we're going to wait and see what happens here. But right now, it looks like the probabilities are high. It will enter a consolidation pattern for at least about 2 to 3 months. Oman. If you look at Oman, this is very ugly too. Nice bullish trend here. It's doing a major pullback right now. We're not quite sure where the pullback level is going to be because there's a big gap between this support and this support right here. This is a major support. In fact, if it gets down here, it's going to take a lot of the bullish momentum away. We thought it was going to sit there and hold here at 67.89, but it kind of blew past that within one day, and now it's got a high probability coming all the way down to 62.26 level, which is a major support. If it gets here, then it'll probably be bullish all the way back up to 67.89 or 69.18, and at that point it's going to be questioning what's this going to happen here. Qatar. If you look at Qatar here, this is bullish trending here. It's at a major support, which is right here at 12,865. As long as it holds here, this is still have a bullish trend intact, even though it looks ugly up here. If it sits there and breaks that support, then we're basically going to enter a major pullback where we could pull all the way back to 11,501. So it's going to be very key for that support level to hold. Let's go over to Asia now, and then we'll trump over to North and South America. China. If you look at China, after breaking this consolidation pattern here, breaking this resistance roughly around 2350, this thing has gone on a vengeance and a tear to a point it's gone up, and actually broke its major high at 2590, and now it's basically going to its next resistance level, which is 2865. So we're targeting this basically to go all the way up to 2865 now, and then you could see all the support resistances, the supports that you have below it. As far as the resistances, there's no history of resistances. That's the one that basically we calculated based on our knowledge. Hong Kong. You could see here this is weak compared to China market. You could see this is just entering one ugly consolidation pattern. It's at one minor support, but couldn't even get up to this resistance level at all. So this is just consolidating to a point it's not even worth talking about at all. Korea. This basically sat there, held the support at 240.90, and then came out to the resistance level of 251.40. We're going to be basically bearish as long as this resistance here at 251.40 gets held, and we'd be bearish up to 240 and possibly breaking that now to get down to 236 level. If this resistance basically gets broken, and then basically we're going to enter a consolidation pattern where the top of the consolidation pattern is going to be roughly around 262. So we're waiting to see exactly what's going to happen here, and then we'll go from there. Japan. Nice bullish trend here. Held a major support roughly right here. We could shrink this down, which is right around 13,983. As long as that support here gets held, this is still going to be a nice bullish trend going up, or it could enter a big ugly consolidation pattern here. If that support gets broken, then we're going to enter a major pullback where we possibly could come all the way down to 12,215. The resistance for us to start looking for this be bullish, it's got to break the resistance at 14,759. If it breaks that resistance, then we do know that it's going to have a high probability of getting back to 16,000 and possibly continuing this journey upwards. Malaysian market. If you look at the Malaysia market, this is one ugly pattern. It was an ugly bullish trend up here. Did a major pullback, held the support at 1770. Didn't quite get up. It broke the first resistance, but didn't quite get up to this resistance here. We're at a major support right now, which is at 1812. As long as this support at 1812 gets held, we still have a high probability of coming up to this resistance level. If it doesn't hold here, we're going to come all the way back down to this major support, and we're basically going to enter a major consolidation pattern for at least next 3 months, between 1770 and 1863. Singapore. If you look at the Singapore market, this had an ugly bullish trend here. Didn't quite get to our support level of 55.10, which is a major support level. Came all the way back here to major resistance, which is around 59.43, and it's trying to sit there and break it and keep on going higher. We're going to be bullish as long as the support level of 57.75 gets held. If it gets below that, then we're basically going to come back to the support, and at that point we have a possibility of breaking it to enter a bearish trend. If we hold that support at 57.75, then we do have a high probability of getting back into the 6200s to retest the high. Thailand, this is still very strong bullish. You could see from here, it's still very strong. Held a minor support level at 1524, kind of stuck at this resistance level of 1601. It's got to break that soon, otherwise people are going to think this is a head and shoulder pattern. If it breaks that, then we do have a possibility of retesting the high at 1650. The longer it doesn't break that, the higher probability it's going to basically reverse. So definitely keep an eye on this for the next 2-3 weeks and see exactly what happens to this one. Indonesia, it's the next one, very similar to Thailand here. A nice bullish trend, pulled back, retest the high. This pulled back, held a support here, which is basically 49.36. Now it's trying to come back up to here. So it looks like we're basically in a consolidation pattern between 49.36 and 52.38. Whichever way we break, that's pretty much the way we're going to go. But this is still very strong bullish, believe it or not. Philippines, a little weaker compared to Indonesia and Thailand. Reason why is we haven't got up to this resistance level here. However, we are still bullish as long as we maintain the support at 41.53. We'll be bullish all the way to 43.72, and at that point we'll have to see exactly what the charts look like. Vietnam, here it held a major support at 15,000. It bounced off there. Now we're basically bullish, coming all the way up to this major resistance level at 19,250. At that point we'll evaluate to see exactly what's happening. But this is basically entering a big consolidation pattern where we believe the bottom is going to be 15,000, the top is going to be 19,255. Australian market, it's at a critical injunction right now. This is an ugly bullish trend here. Did a pullback, didn't quite get to our pullback level support at 5,093. Fell short of it, then came all the way back up here to our resistance levels, broke it, and at that point it should have kept on going. It's at a major support level of 52.94. If it's got to hold this 52.94 level in order for it to remain bullish in this ugly consolidation pattern. If it doesn't hold that support level, this thing's going to sit there and come all the way down to 5,000 level, and it's probably going to enter an ugly consolidation pattern where it's going to be huge and wide, where the bottom is going to be around 5,000 and the top's going to be around 5,500, so a 500-point range. But it's very critical that this week the Australian market bounces out the support to go higher. New Zealand, which has been bullish for a very long time, still remaining to be bullish, continuing to go bullish, so there's nothing really to talk about there. And lastly, Indian market, that we're going to cover the Nifty. And you can see basically it's still continuing its journey going up. Most likely it's got a high probability of reaching 9,000 before the end of the year. And then at that point, I believe in January and February, it'll possibly pull back off the 9,000 level. Moving into next year, but Indian market is definitely going to be bullish going into next year, but we're expecting a pullback January, February. Now let's go over to North and South America. Dow, as you could see with our vacation last week, this is still very bullish. Our level that we marked off, where we basically believe it's going to get to, is 18,034 for the Dow. For the S&P, we're basically at one resistance level, which is 2073. Next one's going to be 2115. NASDAQ, you look at NASDAQ here. This is basically approaching a resistance level of 4373, which we laid out. Next is going to be Canada. Canada here had a nice bullish trend. Sat there, did a major pullback. It was kind of weak still, but it got to about 14,240, which is a major support level. Held it, broke off, got to a resistance level of 15,150. It's got to sit there and hold this support here, 14,397, in order for us to remain bullish. As long as it holds this support here, it basically could keep on going higher, where it can retest this high and get it down to 16,000. So this still has a high probability of reaching 16,000 before the end of the year or Q1 into next year, as long as this support at 14,397 gets held. Mexico, this is one ugly chart pattern, but it's still bullish as long as it basically maintains its support here at 43,287, where we wanted to definitely make sure it basically holds that support. As long as it holds that support, this is going to be basically still bullish consolidation, where it can sit there and still come back up to 46,238. Argentina, which has been bullish since last year, finally decided to go for a little pullback. It's not major at all. The little pullback level is going to be basically right here, which is 95.35. It looks like it's trying to get to that level here. So we're bearish until this level here, and then we'll be basically bullish going back up there. Next is Santiago, Chile. And if you look at it, nothing really going on, except it's just consolidating here between 37.37 and basically 4,069. So nothing really going on there. And lastly, Brazil. A lot of people are talking about this being bullish. It's not bullish. This is one ugly consolidation pattern, where the bottom right now is 50,599 and the top is going to probably be around 57,743. Okay, so that basically sums up everything over here. If you look in Europe, in Europe we had a lot of the Denmark, the Finland, was a Sweden. All of them are extremely bullish. They're still very strong bullish because they broke out of consolidation patterns. Russia looks like it's trying to break out too. South Africa is starting to make a move. Also here to retest the highs here. Then if you go into the Middle East, you basically have a lot of Middle East countries are basically at the major pullback support levels. As long as those support levels they hold, they're going to have possibility of going bullish in the next 2 to 3 weeks going forward. And then if you look into Asia, China is very strong, where it's already broken the high and looks like it's trying to get to a new high even more, which we outlined. So China is very strong. New Zealand still very strong compared to in Southeast Asia. South Asia and Southeast Asia. And then if you look over here to the North and South America, of course the U.S. markets are looking very strong. Argentina is finally going for a pullback, and then the other Santiago, Chile, and Brazil are really not doing much of anything at all. That sums up this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks.